Okay, well, welcome everyone to the evening plenary sessions for Sunday, the 19th of June. In many parts of the world, it's Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. And of course, this is day two of our 99 days of peace through unity. I hope we're going to make it all the way through. This is just day two. But today's a very special one because we're honoring the foundation of life that is Earth. And of course, these foundations of life come from, inspired by eco-governance. And today we've had some extraordinary content. If you haven't yet had a chance to see Vandana Shiva and Linda Tucker, which was the 7 a.m. plenary this morning, Eastern Time, it was utterly profound. These two global leaders coming together. I don't believe they'd met each other before. Linda Tucker, of course, from the White Lion Trust in South Africa, Timbavati, and Vandana Shiva needs no introduction. But together, the two of them were incredible. And then we've had some extraordinary, beautiful content throughout the day. If you just missed the Global Coherence Pulse, that happened here in Room 1 at 5 p.m. It was exquisite. So make sure you tune in for that tomorrow, every day at 5 p.m., the Global Coherence Pulse. So this plenary, I'm delighted and honored and privileged to be sitting down with an extraordinary man, Mr. Duane Elgin. I'm going to bring you up here, Duane, before I do a full introduction. But Duane, welcome to World Unity Week.
Brother Ben, it's wonderful to be with you today, and I look forward to our conversation.
Yeah, we had the opportunity to meet several years ago at Sunrise Ranch, no less, and at a meeting of the evolutionary leaders, and it was a profound, getting to know you a little bit, Duane, has been wonderful, and now getting to know your work and your vision, I'm supercharged and excited about it. Let me just tell everybody out there, Duane Elgin is an internationally recognized speaker, author, and social visionary who looks beneath the surface turbulence of our times to explore the deeper trends that are transforming our world. In 2006, Duane received the International Goi Peace Award in Japan in recognition of his contribution to a global vision, consciousness, and lifestyle that fosters a more sustainable and spiritual culture. Duane is currently the co-director of the Choosing Earth project. Let me just name some of the books that Duane has authored, because I've got them here in my bookshelf, and I know many of you do around the world. Choosing Earth, Humanity's Journey of Initiation, The Living Universe, Promise Ahead, Voluntary Simplicity, Awakening Earth. I mean, all the way back to Changing Images of Man in 1982. What an extraordinary collection of work and body of work that you have put forward. And just by way of introduction to today, Duane, I want to read the paragraph of the description that you sent in for our discussion about Earth Voice. At the very time our Earth is moving into an unprecedented crisis, with the prospect of creating an uninhabitable Earth for much of life in this century, we are also moving into the unprecedented possibility of communication together as a human family. The push of profound necessity is matched by the pull of profound transformational opportunity. In this supercharged setting, many would seek to use Earth Voice to express their rage, outrage, anger, and blame for the destruction of the Earth, the immense greed, short-sightedness, and narrow-mindedness that has gotten us to this critical place in our collective journey. Others will want to cast blame and seek revenge. Is there a way to acknowledge these views and feelings while exploring a deeper healing journey for the Earth? Beneath the anger and blame, there is an ocean of suffering, loss, grief, and sorrow that calls for collective awareness and recognition so that with truth, we can begin a healing process and move towards a regenerative relationship with one another and the Earth. Duane Elgin, it's so great to have you here. Tell us, what's your vision now after decades and decades of being a visionary and an activist, and what Michael Linfield, who was just with us, would call an exemplary Gaian, as you've been, Duane. What's burning in you now? What do you see, and what's your vision for Earth Voice?
The core of my vision is that as a species, we're in our adolescence, and we're struggling to find our way collectively into our early adulthood. Simple as that. But that's an extraordinarily complex transition that we're going through to accomplish the maturation of our species into our early adulthood and the responsibility that we will take then for the well-being of all life. So a key component of growing up as a species is the capacity to honor and collectively speak with one another with an open heart, an open mind, in a spirit of discovery, recognizing that we are being pushed by hard necessity to move into a time of an extraordinary opportunity.
And so there you're sensing that, as in that opening paragraph, lays it out well, Duane. You're sensing this kind of twin reality of the crisis and then the opportunity.
Opportunity.
So for those who may not know what Earth Voice means, or the principal ideas in choosing Earth and then coming out of that, this vision for an Earth Voice, tell us, what does it look like? What is it? What is an Earth Voice, or what is the Earth Voice?
Okay. Never before in human history have the people of the earth had an opportunity to consciously come together as a whole community and to speak with one another about our common future. And to an extraordinary extent, unrecognized by most people, we have that opportunity right now. And what I do is I hold up this simple technology. And I say, we collectively hold the future in our hands. 65% of the people on this planet have one of these cell phones. 65%. By the end of this decade, it will be 75%. A strong majority of people on this planet already hold in their hands the technology needed to communicate our way into a more promising future. And so the challenge is not one of technology. The challenge is one of mobilizing our awareness, mobilizing our collective intention, mobilizing the will to move into this time of collective communication as a species. And in a nutshell, that's what this is about. And it's not to have the complexity of, let's say, a television program and so on at the beginning stages. This is a process of utter simplicity. If we can just begin to come together in common cause, vote together as a species, are we concerned about the well-being of all life? For example, if we say, yes, we are, that is a vote on behalf of the entire human family, the entire earth. If we ask, do you see yourself as a citizen of the earth? Yes. Well, if that yes means a new identity is emerging on the planet. If the people, the leadership, the Pope, the Dalai Lama, and others say thank you to the people of the earth for voting on behalf of a promising future, then a new sense of self-esteem is going to grow on the planet. So with this simple technology, we can grow in our sense of identity as Earth citizens, into our capacity for empowerment as Earth citizens, and our sense of collective esteem. And this is something that has never before existed on the Earth, a capacity that transcends nations, it transcends corporations, it transcends narrow interest groups, and for the very first time in human history, we could have a collective voice for the Earth now, not waiting decades. We could begin to create that now, and that is what is so exciting to me.
Well, that is it's a big, bold, beautiful vision, Duane, and we like them here at World Unity Week. By the way, I love how you and I fly in the same flag. That's a good thing. Right?
That's right.
So we're talking about, we had earlier today Vandana Shiva and Linda Tucker, as I mentioned, and we asked Vandana about this idea of governance and what does it look like. Her Earth democracy and living democracy. It's an area that she's very passionate and informed about. And I think ultimately there's so many people now that are saying very much the same thing, that we've got to get away from these top-down vested interests, the ingrained vested interests of We know the players, corporations, nation states, are acting in their own self-interest by
Right.
design, and get back to replicating what nature looks like. Now with the emergence of distributed autonomous organizations, and the field of cryptocurrency, which I know a lot of people, the blockchain and the distributed ledgers, it's somehow all of this seems to be moving in a similar direction, which is away from a top-down model and towards a distributed autonomous model. Now, in World Unity Week this year, we are really holding the space for eco-governance, which has been brought through. And today's theme of Earth has been inspired by one of the 7 foundations of life, which is Earth, the first one. But I guess, Duane, that's such an exciting thing. But how are we going to get from where we are towards to really accelerate? Because like you said, we don't have 20 years. We don't have 30 years. We need to be doing this now. These 99 days of peace through unity are an opportunity for acceleration. And we want to know, by the end of this discussion, what's Earth Voice going to be doing in September? How do we collectively mobilize the community to take this to the next stage? Now, you can't go too quickly because that doesn't work either. Slow to go steady. I know John's got that mantra as well, but it's important that we understand what's the next step. How do we get from where we are towards take a genuine step forward towards community planetary governance, which is modeling nature, which is distributed, and which is allowing voices of all the different stakeholders to have a place. How do you see us being able to achieve that?
Well, very critically, the first step is awareness that we can do this. And that's what's happening right now. Blessings to you, Brother Ben, with world unity. How do we, as a unified species, in unified conversation, how do we do that? Can we actually do that? To many people, this is utter fantasy. You could never accomplish this. And then I hold up, once again, this simple device, and I say, look, 2/3 of the people on this planet have this right now, 3/4 by the end of this century, or by the end of this decade. So the challenge is not one of technology, it's one of our understanding that we can come together and use this technology. Now, I want to recognize that countries like China has its firewall, trying to keep people out of this kind of conversation. Likewise, Russia and some other countries are creating their own firewalls. But these are leaky systems, so to speak. And even if Russia keeps us out, even if China keeps us out, we can begin to bring the rest of the world right now into a common conversation. And the technology to meet different languages around the earth and invite people into simple votes about issues that concern us all. The well-being of the land, the air, the water, the well-being of animals and plants, the well-being of the people that are currently voiceless. Give them a voice. And the technology to accomplish that exists right now. Let's begin the process by being aware of the potential that's right in front of us. And if we see the possibility of that, and we are pushed by dire necessity, then necessity becomes opportunity manifest. And we will move rapidly into using these technologies to give our voice back to the earth, back to the people that are running these major institutions without the benefit of understanding who we are as the people of the earth that are seeking to choose a new pathway into the future.
Amazing. It's very fascinating, Duane. So I know a lot of people around the world are excited or talking about this idea of direct democracy, using technology to bypass the need for representative government and go straight to the people, so that on any one issue, people can be voting on their devices about issues of importance, and then that's the decision making. There's the sovereignty is back in the people. Now, this is I just wanted you to speak into that, because that's a little different to what you're advocating for at this stage. But tell us, what do you think about that idea of direct democracy? Are there some pitfalls, do you think, Duane, for us to be aware of, and how is Earth Voice different to direct democracy?
Yeah. This is not direct democracy. It is not to overturn representative democracy. It's rather to put the power of public opinion, the power, the voice of the people of the earth, push on our representatives in government. Push them to awaken to the collective responsibilities that they have. For example, the United Nations is probably the closest thing we have to a voice for the earth. But I have spoken with people at the United Nations many times, and again they've said, well, as people, we are unified. We feel a similarity of view. But when it comes time to take a vote in the United Nations, we no longer are speaking out of unity, but out of the pressures of the nation to which we belong. So we don't have a voice for the earth right now. It is non-existent. And because it does not exist, we drift towards disaster. And what I am calling for is, whether it's climate change, species extinction, resource depletion, inequities that are extraordinary, on and on. I am calling for the collective voice of the people of the earth to weigh in and say, here's how we feel. And to give that new context that has never existed, the atmosphere of an empowered public around the earth, an opportunity to push on the representatives in government around the earth.
So it's a disruption, really, to the idea of polling, which is always about national elections, and taking it to a planetary level, Duane.
That's right.
Being able to poll a representative proportion of people about certain issues and get real, genuine opinions to then form and help inform policymakers.
Yes. Well said. It's actually two things. First of all, is to give everyone on the planet that has a cell phone the chance to vote. Everyone. We're all included. But then secondly, you said a representative sample. Indeed, I have done that kind of work in the past. And to get a scientific sample, a random sample of the people of the earth so that we know with great accuracy how the random sample of the people of the earth feel, even though the elites that can afford the new cell phones and all the rest might dominate the global sample. We can have a random sample that allows us to really have an accurate understanding of how the overall people of the earth feel about critical concerns to our common future.
It's a very powerful idea, and I think most people here would agree that what you're calling the Earth voice has not been heard, has not been listened to, has not been respected, has not been valued, and has been trampled on. So this opportunity to give this Earth voice a voice is in itself a subversive act, a radical act of subversion.
That's right. It was our ability to communicate that got us from awakening hunter-gatherers 10,000 years ago to the edge of a planetary civilization now. And I believe it's going to be our ability to communicate that will carry us beyond where we are now, through the initiation into our early adulthood and into a more mature planetary community that can choose wisely for our common future and talk back to the people in positions of power and say, we are awake now. We see now together as a human family, as a human community, and here's how we feel. We want constructive change for a livable earth for future generations, and it must begin now. So, yes.
I think this is a tremendously exciting idea because it's, as I said before, it's big and it's bold, but it's also achievable with the technology we have and the platforms. And wouldn't it be amazing to be able to say with conviction and authority, this is what the Earth Voice is saying about this issue on climate change, or what this issue on the Security Council of the UN, or whatever issue it might be, about our ability to prevent wars and to negotiate a lasting peace. Very, very powerful, and it's tied up too, Duane, with this idea of sovereignty. The idea that a nation state can claim sovereignty in an era of global interconnectedness, and particularly in an era of immense global challenges. what really this is a step towards is giving the sovereignty back to the whole planet and the whole planet only, and making clear the delusion that is national sovereignty. That's a big conversation. That's a very important evolutionary leap. Sounds like we're going to need some good technology advisors around here. I think John Raymer might be in the room. We're going to bring him up here and get his insights on this in a moment as well. But Duane, I just wanted to ask you, we're in 99 Days of Peace Through Unity. It's about acceleration. It's about coming together, and it's about ending up in Peace Week somewhere we haven't been before. We're going to make ground. And that's what this is. We're coming together, we're acting together. There are many, many different incredible things which are emerging. The unitive narrative you're connected to, hollow movement, eco-governance, human security. There are amazing things that are in the field that are being advanced. And Earth Voice is an important one of them. So what would you like to see happen over the next 3 months, and how can we, the community, support the next stage iteration of where Earth Voice is at?
Wow. Wonderful questions. Okay. First of all, I want to go back to where I started, and that is, this is a matter of consciousness. It's a matter of awareness. And if we are aware of what we can do simply, directly, practically, this is an incredibly practical endeavor. It doesn't takes a lot of money to open up your cell phone, and if the languages are there, which are very doable, to say, well, let's take a vote on climate change and how we feel about it and how urgent we feel it is as a human community and so on. So the very first and biggest challenge is simple awareness and mobilizing the social will that we have as a human community. And you spoke about sovereignty, Ben, the sovereignty of nations. Well, I want to speak about the sovereignty of the individual. And we need to take back that we're citizens of the earth. We own ourselves. And in our self-ownership, we can say, well, look, here's how I feel as a sovereign citizen of the earth. I am an earth citizen, and my voice deserves to be heard given how our future is now imperiled. So it is to go right down to the grassroots level, claim our sovereignty and our empowerment as citizens, and then elevate that together in common conversation out to the entire world. And for that to happen, once again, it doesn't require a lot of money. What it requires is to mobilize our collective intention, our collective will, to come together in common cause to make this happen.
That's such an incredible, rich space, Duane. We really do feel a great attractor and will to participate and join with Earth Voice and go forward. There's a sort of an understanding that wisdom isn't from having the answers, but wisdom comes from asking the right questions. And at the moment, that's really what you're proposing, is that we ask the right questions to the right people, which are not being asked at this time. And
that's
really
right.
Like and use that as a navigating tool to go forward. I want to understand one thing. Go ahead.
I want to interrupt. You have to ask the right questions. So first of all is awareness we can do this. The second is let's do this in a way that really works. And what are the right questions? I don't have all the answers to that. This is where we need the people of the earth to say, wait a minute, here are the questions that really are foundational to our future. Is it climate change? Or maybe is it something more foundational? To say, who are we as a species? What are we here for? What is life about? Where are we going? Where are we trying to move to? Not just into our survival, but to our surpassing possibilities as a human family. What are the questions that should guide us into an inquiry for our collective future?
Yeah, magnificent, beautiful. That is a very powerful thing, and I think that inviting the space in which the right questions can arise is the right way to go, Duane. I just want to underscore one thing before we bring John up. You mentioned before about the United Nations, and for people that are working closely, they understand this deeply. But for a lot of the rest of us, just to really underscore that the United Nations are there representing the national interest. So
that's right.
The ambassador for France is there representing the interests of France, and from Australia is representing the interest of Australia as a nation state. And so they are the United Nations. And they do
Nations.
good work, and we applaud the much good that happens as a result. But there is nothing that is representative of the human family,
That's right.
the human family. It's nation states that are dialoguing about national interests,
That's
but
right.
there is no platform currently that is really serving and connecting the united human family. So this Earth Voice is an important evolutionary advance, and we're very, very excited to see how we can take your vision, Duane, and how we can support to actually bring it, a little bit further down the track over these next 99 days and beyond. So I know John Raymer is very passionate about all this and is a technical wizard. So we'll have all sorts of he'll know to ask the right questions. John, what's alive for you at this point with Duane and Earth Voice?
Well, okay. First off, it's a real privilege to have this conversation. This is a serious, urgent need. We can't keep doing it the same old way. I don't want this to be one more conference that you go and stand on a soapbox and scream about this without there being real outcomes and results. And I think we've reached that point where we can ask that question, because Ben's asked you twice. And I know it's hard because he's saying, hey, what do you really need? This is where I think we cannot do it alone. And I represent an alliance that you guys are a part of. And we have to do this stuff together. We need collaborative leadership. All the great ideas and visions, it doesn't take that alone. That's not sufficient. It's necessary, but it's not sufficient. So to prototype, to actually take a step forward, because what you're saying to me, Duane, and you're so generous, everyone should know, Duane, about Duane, that so many of the things you've shared with the world, like voluntary simplicity, really have changed the world. And you keep saying to me, I'm willing to give this up. I want the world to take it. Well, to learn how that happens is a certain kind of art, because you're inviting people to discover and waking up to our individual power. And the truth is, it was 1648, right, where they invented this idea of nation states. And nation states are failing us. It's up to us to actually rise up together. And you're making the point that the technological infrastructure is in place to do that. We just haven't been able to coalesce the will to do it. And what we're proposing to you in support of this, what we call these synergy projects, that can practically put some legs underneath Earth Voice as a prototype during this 99 days. Let's set some specific outcomes that we want to see happen and actually begin to demonstrate that through this co-creative situational leadership. It's great to have the visionary, but you need some infrastructure. You need some support. We need some tangible outcomes. We need to be not counting on you on your own to pull the whole thing off. Same thing with you, Ben. I'm over here watching. You're another genius with a vision, but you can't do it all by yourself. That's what we're seeing is the power of what we're doing here together. So figuring out how we prototype this and go into the mode of moving it into a functional prototype and then eventually a production prototype and demonstrating that this self-sovereignty, because when we've talked about this, if people are following this, the issue is this. If everyone's going to be given a vote, how am I going to know it was one person who voted? How can I prove that somebody didn't game the system? Look what's happening with Elon Musk and Twitter. He doesn't want to buy Twitter because they're claiming there's all these accounts. Well, how does he know that they're people? He has a right to ask that. How will we know there's authority in the Earth Voice if we don't have a way to do this self-sovereignty and this self-authentication? The technology to do that, that's what you're pointing to, Ben. You talk about these distributed architectures, this kind of blockchain, a trust protocol that can establish the trust we need amongst ourselves as a global community to believe that everyone's not gaming the system. That's the brilliant genius of the whole blockchain thing, is that there is a way to demonstrate it's authoritative and we can trust it. So if we have an infrastructure like that, where people who are voting can be able to have the authentication that they need, and the people who are asking for the votes can trust the results, we've built a very important, and I think that should be one of the requirements from our prototype, is that we're able to demonstrate that we can authenticate self-sovereignty in some way so that the people that are asking for votes can believe that the voices that they're hearing are actually the voices of the people. And we could put like 10 requirements like that in place for this first prototype. And I know there's many people that are hearing this that get the inclination that this is the right thing right now. Because nation states are a fiction. They're made up. Nature doesn't know when it's left Canada. The birds don't know when they're in Canada and when they're in the United States. And, what's that guy who started the Extinction Rebellion? He wrote that book, Our Awakening, everything changes or something. And he said, the big secret of the world that people don't know is that we made it all up and we could make it up differently. So you're offering a brilliant idea, but hopefully we can create this into a project that now gives you the empowerment and support. And that's what I'm interested in doing. That's what our alliance is about, is how do we get behind you and turn that into some kind of tangible outcome that we could see come September that moves this project forward.
Great.
I'm ready. I'm in. I'm not alone.
Great. Beautiful. Well, I just want to say this is a team effort. Obviously, it's a team effort, and it's a collaborative effort. And I might envision this. I've been developing this over the last decade, but it's going to be a community that implements it. And like you say, John, we need to show the funders and those that would bring the different languages together through the internet and so on, the practical dimensions of this. They need to know there's an audience out here that wants this. No one's calling for an Earth voice yet. But if we can begin calling for an Earth voice in these 99 days and beyond, from around the Earth, not just in California, let's say, but around the Earth, if there is some voice that is calling for a new communication for our common future, that's an extraordinary step forward. With that voice, I can then turn to the technological experts, for example, that you were speaking about, John, that know about how to make sure we don't have a whole bunch of fake people flooding the voice of the Earth voice. We need to know that the people that are voting are actually human beings that have the right to author their voice into our collective future. And we can do that, just like you were describing, John. So I want to partner with people. I'm not wanting to try and move this by myself. I can't. It has to be a team effort.
Yeah. No, but collaborative leadership is a new game.
Yeah.
The indigenous idea of co-creative situational leadership, I think, is really relevant. And if you look at like what we did right now, we just made a wave of this, and that's 70 shares. There's a community of people that want this to happen, that are willing to build with the abundance that they have of trust and compassion and love and resources. So I say, let's shape this into a synergy project.
Yes.
Turn this into a specific kind of initiative that we can invite people into during the 99 days to take stock of where we are, what's missing now, where are we going. We could put a Trello board like I do for all these synergy projects so people can get connected, see the background, understand the information, know, how do they keep everyone informed that's interested? How do we make commitments and track those commitments? How do we make decisions as a group that are standing behind you and part of that team, that core team? You see, look at that, Joni Carly. Yes. I love you, Joni. You see, that's exactly what we're capable of doing. We can give our time. We can give our love and compassion. That's building with abundance. That's how nature works. And just one thing is amazing, Brother Ben. You may not know, and Duane, you may not know either. I've been buzzing for months about this book, about teaming up. Do you know that woman is here teaching a course in the whole systems biomimicry room on teaming up, the book? The author is here. Let me tell you how I know that. I mean, is that not like, duh, everything we need is here, guys. And I'm able to only know that because I know how to navigate here. So can you see my screen?
Indeed, yes.
If I go down here, there's a room here called Holistic Design and Biomimicry Circle. She's up to session 2 today, teaming up. So I'm just saying, be prepared to be surprised. We have more than we realize. And I just honor you both, and I'm here in service of the dream. That's what World Unity Week is all about. That's what the 99 days gives us, a new kind of scaffolding, to not just come to a conference and spoken about it and have it just kind of go out, into the ethos. Let's really lean in and turn these into initiatives and projects that we can synergize around over these next 99
Great.
days. This is one that I think is worthy of all of our efforts.
Great.
I'll get out of here to let you guys talk, but I'm in.
That's great.
Brother John.
Hang around. We just took a Zoom room voice. We've got a poll there. Results coming in. Should we have a genuine Earth voice? Yes or no? We'll make sure people get a chance to vote on that. There's a poll. Obviously, it's a simple one. It's a very, very simple one. But this is just polling about the idea for an Earth voice. And I think that here's the thing, Duane, and John's right. There's an overwhelming sense that we got to do this. We may not even be qualified, right? But then who is? So we just got to find a way. And I think with John's passion, with teaming up and the Sign Network and, creating projects, but it's going to take time. It's going to take meetings. It's going to take effort. It's going to take execution. One thing we've all learned that to have a vision is, as John said, it's an essential part of the creative process. And then the manifestation, the execution of that is a different ballgame.
That's right.
And now, for this over the next 90 days, what can we do?
Yes.
What can we do? Would you
See, Ben, you're a master at this, all right? Everybody knows this about Ben. That turning visions into reality, I work with him close enough every day to know that that's his gift. He can bring that to this. And it's part of knowing our gifts and realizing how do we really put them together. How do we turn what we have into what we need? That's the strategy that we need to think of
Yes.
to define the prototype project.
And I just want to say too, Duane, John and I have a real privileged viewpoint on a lot of what's emerging because of the conversations we're in. And this Earth Voice is a critical component of what's emerging as an entire new culture. It's a new
Yes.
culture.
Yes.
With what Jonathan Granoff is doing with redefining security away from, the military, geopolitical kind of framework into, true human security means ecological sustainability. It means right livelihood. It means all sorts of holistic aspects. I mean, it's an entry point into everything. What Shelley Ostroff is doing with eco-governance is connected to this. What Vandana Shiva is doing with living democracy. These things are coming together. The unitive narrative. These are all part of a new global planetary culture of peace and life-affirming culture. And this Earth Voice is an essential component for that. It's like being able to tap the pulse of it. So I think, I'm definitely excited about it. I'm up for whatever it's going to take. If there's a working group, if the people that, want to participate in helping make this happen. I'm going to get another poll before we close here, which is going to be...
Ben, here's what we have. So just so everybody knows. On Saturday, we have an open space. And Duane, I'd like you to host a session at the open space on Saturday about this. So, and we're using on the open space, if you guys haven't seen this, if you look on the front page of World Unity Week, there was some really wise and inspired questions posed by Dot Maver. And that's the framing question. I'm going to read it to you guys that we're using for open space. And I'd love there to be a session there, invite people to come and be with you, Duane, to be able to talk about how they can be a part of this pilot that we're talking about.
Great.
And the question that she asked, here, let me share my screen so people can see. This is on the home page of the World Unity Week website. Wait, I'm not sharing that. Oh, God. Something. All the windows I have open. Sorry, guys. Working time. You see that? No. All right, I'm just going to read the question.
All right.
She wrote 2 questions. She said, what is our potential as we unite and come into coherence together to build a community, expressing peace through unity, holding each other and all life in our hearts? Then here's the second question I say we use for the open space. What can happen when we collectively and intentionally place our vast potential, resources, and creativity in the spirit of cooperation and right relationship for 99 days in a shared experience of creating the world we want to live in together? And I think
Yes.
growing Earth voice during this time just fits like a glove.
Yes.
So
That's
that session's on Saturday. Let me
great.
give you the time and everyone have it.
So we've got about 10 minutes left. I just wanted to, jump out. The results of the poll we've taken here in the Zoom room is at 96%. Wow, that is overwhelming. 96% have voted yes. We should have a genuine Earth voice. That's a huge number. Now, of course, that's what we are in some senses, in a community of like-minded people. So that's perhaps not surprising, but that is a great indication, Duane, that you're onto something and that we're onto something. I think the next guy and the next sort of thing is, what do we do next from here? And I'm sure, Duane, you've got the team and you've got people that are in this conversation with you. How do we go forward? How do we support you? What's the next step here?
Well, this is mutual support. But I can tell you this, that I've spoken to so many people about this, people in position of prominence and power and affluence and this and that, and we need that support to mobilize the technology, to ensure that the people that are voting are not fake people, the real people. We need that support to come up with the languages to meet the people of the earth, around the earth. But we also need the kind of collaboration, the collaborative leadership that John was speaking about. And he was saying, how can he support me? Well, how can I support him? How can I support you, Ben? How can we be mutually supportive of one another and discover beyond the busyness of our lives, how can we discover taking the next meaningful steps in bringing Earth voice to the world for a collective voice of. Do we have confidence in ourselves as a species to empower people to really go forward with this initiative? Let's find out. What are the questions that people want to explore and that are productive and that don't run over people's sensibilities, but rather invite them into a deeper dialogue, and so on and so on. And I'm in. This is what I have been doing with my life. I wrote a book called Choosing Earth. How do you choose Earth? Well, you better have an Earth voice, a voice for the Earth, so you can choose to live here on the Earth. And we're losing the Earth right now. We're creating an uninhabitable Earth. So an Earth voice for a habitable future takes all of our wits and wisdom mobilized together. So I'm in. But I sure need the support of a community like this.
Fantastic. Well, you know what? You got it, Duane, because I'm looking at this poll here, which says, would you be willing to participate in an Earth Voice working group through the Sign Network? And we already have 18 people have stepped forward. So, John, if we can get their names in the chat, are you going to be able to keep a record of these 18 brave souls who are stepping forward to steward this next phase of development for Earth?
Oh, totally, man, totally.
Okay,
Great.
And that open space is happening at 3 o'clock on Saturday, 3 EDT. And Ben, I hate to be bragging about this, but I'm so proud of the fact that we've made the technology easier for people. So here's the thing. When you go to an event, you can add it to your calendar. And even though the event tells you an EDT, you add it to your calendar, it does the adjustment for you and puts it on your calendar in the right time within your time zone.
we have the technology.
Finally been able to get over this. People's eyeballs roll when I say, well, I'm in, European time, and is that London? Oh my God. Now you can look at it. Say, all right, I think I can do that. Then you add it to your calendar and it does it for you.
Well done, John.
Great.
Well done. We have the technology and you're a master at figuring it out. So people are putting their names in the chat, John.
All right, I'm going to save the chat.
Working group. So everybody who we've got 20 people have stepped forward.
Wow, that is so cool.
87% of those who have voted want to be a part of this, Duane. Come on. People want to participate. So we're going to have to figure it out together, like you say, collectively. We're all here to help each other, like you say. So, really appreciate your vision, your life's work, being with us here in World Unity Week. It's just been wonderful. And perhaps you're going to be back later on during the open space on Saturday.
Yes.
But see all these names that are coming in. of people who want to participate. We'll have to go to we'll have to go to Facebook too, John, and see who's putting their names out there that they want to be a part of this Earth Voice working group.
Right. Hey, Ben, that sounded a little like if you want to. No, he's committed. I'm holding him to it, right, Duane?
I'll be there.
All right. We need Earth's voice there. Can't have Earth's voice get wimpy on me. We need it strong and clear.
All right, I'm going to publish that poll. All right. So, Duane, it's been a lively session.
Indeed.
And we've learned about the opportunity, we've learned about the need, and we've learned about the vision. Just in sort of closing, this is the other one I didn't mention, of course, before when I was talking about a new culture, Planetary, is the Hollow Movement, which you're a part of, and there's a plenary coming up in the Hollow Movement later in World Unity Week as well. These incredible, beautiful, emerging fields of Hollow Movement, Earth Voice, eco-governance. These are the language and the codes for a new era, a new dispensation of life on Earth. And my goodness, it's not a moment too soon. So, Duane, just in closing, as a visionary, as the philosopher, as the thinker that you are, what are your sort of final reflections? I'll just take John off because he's getting all those names, which is great. What's your sort of final reflection for all of us today? Thank you to everyone who's been here in the Zoom room. Thank you to everyone who's been watching live and on demand as well. But Duane, I want to hear your final thoughts.
Yeah. Earth Voice is a movement of movements. It is the centerpiece to allow all of these diverse initiatives for the future to come together and find their voice to the people of the Earth. And so it's an initiative that serves us all. Whether indigenous cultures, the voiceless now on the earth, the plants, the animals that have no voice at all. How do we bring all of these voices together into a common voice for our collective future? And that is the intention for this. It's not pushing a particular agenda. It is rather saying, let's have a collective voice so those agendas, those ideas, those initiatives can get a hearing by the people of the earth. Let's find our way into a compassionate future. Let Earth Voice be the voice of compassion for the people and the life, the well-being of all life on the earth.
Oh, that is so beautifully said, Duane, and so beautifully said. And here we started yesterday, day one, with the listening field, where people were coming into partnership, the partnership ceremony with their nature elders, like you said, giving a voice to the voiceless. And listening to the nature elders. There was a session today. Let me just share, and we can end on this. Are you seeing the Earth slide there? So this is the takeaway from the listening field today. And Danalia and her team created this. How do we restore right relationship with the Earth? This was the question they were asking, and the insights that come from the nature elders. These are mountains and the rivers and the streams and the trees. We are all unique life expressions living as one. Allow our electromagnetic frequencies to align, give and receive life as one. So a beautiful inspiration there from the listening field as we honor Earth today on this Day of Earth in World Unity Week. Duane Elgin, it's been an absolute honor and pleasure and privilege to have you with us. And we just made a whole lot more work for all of us, you and John and me and many others that have stepped in. But hey, it's what we're here for. So thanks for bringing the vision. Thanks for everything you've done and continue to do and will continue to do, Duane. And we're going to see you again later in World Unity multiple times. Yeah. We'll get this working group. Earth Voice, its time has come, and nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. Thank you, Duane Elgin, for being with us in World Unity Week.
Thank you, Ben. Blessings to you all.
And Kaylin, we're going to keep the live stream going as we go into the next this session. We're going to play some messages from our beloved sponsors at Purpose Earth. Of course, and Emmanuel Kunzelman is the pioneer behind the Hollow movement, which is emerging. So let's have a listen to some of the incredible work that's happening at Purpose Earth. Thank you, Kaylin.
My name is Laura Peña, and I am the founder of She's the Universe, a global movement for girls' empowerment. I think that we all come into this world with a purpose, with something that we came here to do. And when we don't know what that is, I tell people, like, what is it that breaks your heart? Tell me what breaks your heart and I'll tell you what that is. So we are creating something called World Changers, where we're supporting girls and from all over the world to get in touch with that heartbreak and what it is that they came here to do, and support them and inspire them through workshops and through community and through mentorship, so they can actually take action on the things that they care about, so they can actually make the changes that they want to see in the world. And I would love to partner with you to create this and to bring change into the world through girls and women. So thank you.
It is time to think about the future generation. This is a big opportunity for us to speak to the world.
For the children that want to speak up, but maybe they're too afraid, I'm speaking up for them.
We can change the world by using our passions and our talents.
We need to start right now making changes every day.
What you do counts.
We are the future.
We are the key. We only get one shot at creating the future we want to see.
And we need to let go of all of our barriers and the things that told us to not do, and let go of everything and really participate in oneness, humanity, and really care for each other.